Stones in the cemetery. The Galpin family had this placed here. It's rose quartz. It's been placed here for a long time. The Galpin family lived on the corner of Foundry Street and Railroad Avenue, Delaware Avenue, that became Del Rey Avenue. After the train went out, they made one street instead of the two streets, and they made one street, and they lived on the corner of Foundry Street. Norm, Josephine was their mother, and there was Norm, and then there was Jen, and Jen was married to Cease Taggart, and then there was Georgia Koski, Georgia Galpin Koski, and they were frequent patrons of the Millstream Inn, and I knew their grandson, Jimmy, who lives in Arizona, I believe, now, or New Mexico, and Norm had a trucking business where he had a dump truck that he would lease out and do things. The girls, Jen and Georgia, enjoyed singing, especially after they had been to the Millstream for a couple hours. And Georgia sang tenor. And they were good in the beginning, but after somebody bought them a beer or two for singing, it tended to get a little bit difficult. Georgia's husband was Eno Koski, and he went, Myron Miller was one of our predecessor funeral directors, and he told me about Eno Koski went off the road one night up on the curve in West Candor where Rawteens live up in there, and he went down over a bank, and Myron Miller was on his way to Waverly to pick up a body, so he had the hearse with him, and Eno had had a few drinks, and he crawled up over the bank, and there stood Myron. And Eno said, "God, Myron, I knew you were good, but I didn't know you were that good." So he thought he'd come to pick him up. Georgia one night it was one February night, and my friend Corrine and I, who partied together a little bit, we were out riding around, and we come out of the school. Georgia always drove a huge white Bonneville, and it was as big as a football field. So we're pulling out of the school, and Georgia goes by, and it had just snowed, a very light snow, a cold February night. And Georgia or Jen was coming down towards the bridge, and she never turned to go across the bridge. She hit the bridge on the west end of the bridge. Big cloud of new snow, and I said, "Oh my God, Jen's gonna be hurt. We gotta get over there." And Corrine says, "Let's ride around town once and wait till somebody else gets there," because she was afraid of. I said, "We can't do that. She might be hurt." So I opened the car door, and Georgia fell out on her hands and knees. And she says, "Oh my God, Phil, thank God you're here. I just hit a deer." So I think she thought it was a deer. So that's a beautiful monument that I believe that came from Vermont. I think that they told me that came from Vermont. Some of you may remember the Snover grave. We won't walk over there, but it's worth the trip over to see the Snover grave, because he is a man who was a carpenter, and there's a statue of him as a carpenter that was sent from Italy. And it's believed that his horse was buried there. And Elton Ahart, who told me a lot of these stories, Elton said he never could find out for sure if the horse was buried there or not. And now they don't allow animals to be buried in a people's cemetery. A few people sneak them in once in a while, but it's believed, and it's the far corner, and it's I believe it's a place where in younger days a lot of people went there to smooch and do other things. So there's probably a few people who got their start at the cemetery.
Wow.